So, welcome to, Python section of data engineering. So we're going to do few configuration before we start with, basic Python. The reason why we have to get this ready is majorly for, for us to deal with, run code in Spark. So I would like to get this set up, and in case you want to like practice on your own, you have understanding and you be able to, learn very fast. Now, so this configuration is for you to, like I said, is for you to be able to run Spark. And for you to run this, you have to run this first line of code. If you from what I have here, you see run below command in Google Colab. When you run it, can you see the asterisk here? Don't forget asterisk here. Can you see it's going? You run that. Then I think I also need to show you Spark. Okay, Spark. If you go to website, Spark website, this is the website. You will see the latest Spark here. So spark.apache.org/download. Here you will see the latest update. The latest update, let's see, we have update around 3.43 April 2024. We have another one now. This is the updated one, which we were talking about the other times. 3.53 here. So you can download it here directly, right? If you go here and download, you can copy this link and import it to your Google Colab here as download.apache.org. Can you see that? See there. So you can copy this one now, a new version. Let me copy this new version now. The new version is 3.53 and we have 3 here. So let me go here. So I can change this one to 3.53. 3.53. Let's see 3.53 here. So this one remains 3. So change this part to 3 and let's change. Yeah, that's perfect now. So now you first run the first part of the code. When you run it, so okay, when you run this code, you see a mark here. That means it's successful. Go to the next line. The next line is related to you are just trying to have access to this particular link here to download Spark. Can you see the link? Here you see the name DLCDN, but here you see it as download.apache. So it's still okay. If you copy this one, it's still going to work. Download.apache. You have it here. So it's still the same thing. So just use wget space -q space https : copy that link and put it here and let's run it. Let's see. I just changed the link now. I changed it from 3.51 to 3.53. So let's see if it's going to work. So I'm doing that now. Let's see, it's going. It's not failing at all. Brilliant, it's gone. It's gone through. So now the next step is to unzip this file. If you see this file, it comes with a zip format of TGZ. So we have to unzip it using this tar. So tar, asterisk tar, SF, Spark, which is the file name here, the last part is here. Then when we do that, we unzip it. Let's run it. We are unzipping the file now. Unzipping the file now. Okay. There you go. It's gone through. So now the next thing to do is to find Spark. And that is what? Pip. Can you see the exclamation? Pip install space -q space find Spark. Don't write it together like this. Don't write it together like this. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Some people are asking for the link, and I don't know reason why they don't have access to the link, because we've been using same link. Please, could someone maybe respond to them? Maybe send the link to them. Thank you. Okay, let's go on. So we run pip install find Spark. While we do that, we're done. And the reason why we are doing this is for us to find our Spark if it's installed correctly. So now, if we go here, you will see everything is installed. This is the TGZ link, zipped one. And why can you see, we have the details here now. We have the file. So we can access the file from content / Spark. Let's see where we have our content. Let's see if we have content. I like to explain, you know, so the content is from this particular, okay, 1 second. It should be yeah, so it's under this particular file, that a particular folder directory. Content is here, and accessing this, can you see Spark 5.3 -bin -Hadoop free? Does that make sense? So this is the environment. 1 second. Yes, so now let's go back to what we are doing. So I've shown you where we have the Spark Home now. We have this. And if we go on and run this now, import OS, we have everything configured in this environment. Then we have import find Spark that we run here. If you see pip install find Spark and we have it, then then you can now find this Spark now. Can you see? If I run, so we have find Spark, initialize these parts. Then if I run this, you'll be able to get that part. So it's configured correctly. So using this find Spark to find that folder path for Spark where it's being stored. So you're able to get this one as the final part. That means you are okay with the configuration. Is that clear? Any question again?
No question for now.
Okay, thank you. 1 second, please. Just don't want this to, okay. Now, that's the configuration. So we are now going to go to, but please get this ready. Just get it ready. Then, I think by the end of the class, after we finish this section, I will try and put an shall I say an assignment together so that you will just plan ahead and you ensure that you submit it by the end of the whole Python section. Because I want to make sure that it's more interactive and and more collaborative as much as possible, so that we'll pick something from. I don't want people to come to this platform and we are teaching and it looks like, oh, this is, oh, what are they teaching? I don't understand. So I'm going to send an assignment across maybe before the end of the day, or on Monday, I'll send it across via the WhatsApp group. So you should be expecting that. Now, let's go back to our main class. like I said in the beginning, we'll be covering data structure. We'll be covering conditional statements in Python. This is basic Python, class. They'll be covering loop and iteration before we jump on, you know, Spark, how to do, deal with data engineering aspect of Spark, dealing with large amounts of data sets. If we have time, we'll cover the AWS, cloud environment. I will introduce you to AWS environment, what you need to know about some of the applications or services under AWS environments. Sorry, give me 1 second. So now we're going to start with data structure. So the main goal of this class is for us to understand data structure in Python, the main data structure in Python, and understand how and when to apply data structures based on the requirements, and also for you to get hands-on experience on using some of the data structures in Python. By the time you finish this class, I'm very, very sure you should be able to do some basic things related to data structure, maybe in terms of using list and the rest. So today we're going to start with list. We're going to start with list. For those that are familiar with list, do you want to say anything about list? If you want to say anything, like I said, this section, Python section is interactive. We want to make sure that you pick something out from this section as much as possible, and we do more brainstorming. So I'm here also to learn from everyone here present. Some have got experience in Python, just want to brush up their experience also. And some, they, who knows? But please feel free to ask any question, and we'll make it more interactive as much as possible. So we're going to start with the list. List is an object that holds a collection of objects. So it represents sequence of data. And I will give you an example. I'm not going to be typing much here because I want to try as much as possible to cover a lot. List. We have list. And how do you deal with list? Can you see I have a variable name? This is called variable name. So I can use any name. I can decide to use SOM_list here. It doesn't matter. Let me use SOM_list. So for you to deal with anything related to lists, list is in square brackets like this. Whenever you see this, is called what? A list in Python. Is for a list. Can you see that sign? The symbol means list. So in this case, like I said, is a collection of objects. In this case, what are the objects? Can you see? One of them is 2, -3, 0, 4, and this. Don't forget, this one we're using, in this case, we are using an integer in this case. A list can also accept a string. It can accept strings, collection of strings in this case. In this case is an integer. So we can intentionally go here and say, okay, list, okay, let me say list, I want to use capital because list is a function like this. If you see this one is being highlighted is a function. So I don't want to use that function. So I would like to use capital uppercase L IST equals to. So in this case, let me use let me use someone's name here. 1 second. So I have Toyin here. I have under the same list, I have Yusuf. Then I have, I'm just going to list the last one. So I'm going to pick another name here. I have Jamie here. If I'm correct, permit me, to pronounce your name that way. If I'm correct. Yeah. So we have this. So I can run this list like this. This is a list. Like I said, it's a collection of what? Objects. So let's see what we have. Good. Now, let's confirm if this is a list. Type. Then we put list. Let's see the type here. Good. Can you see? Is a type of what? A list. Forget about the name. Maybe it's a bit confusing because I use list as a name. Let me use mentee lists. And I run this as this is a variable name. You can use any name as a variable name. And I pass in this mentee inside there so that it won't get confusing. Mentee list. And if I run it, it will tell you the type of it is what? A list. Because we said a list is a collection of objects. So this is a function on its own and it's recognizing this as a list. So I've given you an example of a list. And if you look at this critically, we have the position of those elements in the list. So we have a position of elements in the list. The position of elements in the list is very, very important for you to understand the positioning. And the position stands for index. There's something called index. So the position stands for index. So in this case, for our list, Toyin is the first one on the list, first element on the list. Yusuf is the second element of the list. Jamie is what? Is the third element on the list. But for Python, when you are talking about the first element, you start with 0. Second element is 1. Third element is 2. Fourth element is 3. So that's how you'll be able to, capture wherever you have in this list. So in the case of Toyin, if you want to get this element in the list here, is 0. We're going to use index 0. Yusuf as element in the list, we use 1. Jamie as element on the list, we use what? 2, because it starts from 0, 1, 2. So let's try that. Let's do this now. Let's do that. So, whenever you in Python, you use print to, show the details of what you have. So in this case now, we want to list the elements in the list here. So I want to list element 0. That's index 0, the first element, index 0. So if I run this one, it's going to print Toyin out. Can you see? That is Toyin, right? If I'm correct. If I want to print element what? The second one, which is index 1, is going to give me what? Can someone tell me what is I'm going to get in this case?
Yusuf.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That's Yusuf. So if I run this one, I'm going to get Yusuf. And if I go further and I click element 2, which is 0, 1, 2, I'm going to get Jamie. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, thank you. Now let's go on. From here, I've shown you the element on the list and I've also explained index. index by saying the first one index 0, the second one is index 1, which is the second element, index 2, which is the third element on that list. So that's how it works with lists. So now let's go on with this. SOM now. I give an example of SOM here with integer. And this one is negative integer minus 3. So what's the first element on this list?
2.
2. Second element,
Negative 3.
brilliant. Fourth element, third element.
0.
Third. Third is fourth.
0.
Which one is third
0.
element?
0. 0.
Is 0.
Zero.
Which one is the index 1 here?
Minus
It's
3.
minus 3.
Minus 3. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Index 1, like I said, first element is index 0. Second element is index 1. Third element is index 2. Fourth element is index 3. Fifth element is index 4. It's like you are taking 1. So in this case, to recognize index, let me put it here. I think it makes sense if I do that here. So for index, so for you to capture index is like you are taking the position of the elements. So I will say for index, you will use, how do I want to present it? Okay, you use the position of the element minus the position of the elements minus 1. I think this makes sense. So it makes index, which means that if you have the first position as 1, this is going to be 1 minus 1, 0. Did you get that? If you have the second position, oh, it's gone. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So if the second position, that's 2 minus 1, is going to be what? 1. That's the four. That's how it works. Position of the elements minus 1. That's the index. So, and so I've explained that. So in this case now, index, I've already explained this also. So we have position of this in is this minus 1. Let me use, why did I use this? Let me use this. Okay, let's put it that way. So now, in this case now, we want to print SOM list, SOM underscore list. So if we run this now, we have it as this. So we have the list, and we can check the type of the list here using type as a function. Can you see the function here with keyword arguments, and we can see it as what? Type list. So if I take this off and I put print here, and I want to capture the last element on that list, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So if I put 4 here, I can print the last element on that list, which is what? Minus 1. This is the index. Can you see the positioning? 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm able to print this. And I can decide to print to SOM underscore list. Let's say I want to capture another element. Let's say element 2. Let's see what we have here, which I don't think. Okay. Okay, it's not going to give me. I know the reason. Okay, anyway. So let's go on. Okay. Oops. Okay, don't let me make it complicated. I think I'm getting it out of. Okay, so let's keep it that way. So we know how to print the type. We know how to print the element. Please, can you mute yourself, please, if you are not talking? If you don't mind, thank you. I don't want to lock everyone at the same time, please. Because we upload this video on YouTube, so I want to make sure that it's clear as much as possible. And okay, thank you. So now let's go on to the next stage. So we have type, I've given an example of prints, and that's it. Then we can go to the next line, which is capturing SOM underscore list. And from here, if we run it, we're getting the first what? Index. That's the first element on the list. Index 0, first element on the list. If we capture 1, it's going to be -3, which is index what? Index 1, that's the second element on the list. So that's how it works. So now let's give an example here. In this case, I want to alter what we have on this list. So I can intentionally say, okay, SOM underscore list. I want to give, let's say, for example, I want to put index 5. I want to add an element to this existing list. The existing list is SOM underscore list. So I want to add 6 as part of the elements that we have there. So if I run this one, okay, I think there's a mistake. There's an error somewhere. Ooh. Oh, okay, that's brilliant. So 1 second, 04.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. It's done. So now if I do SOM underscore list now, let's see what we have. You will see something must have changed there. And let's see what we have. Can you see something has happened? It has, what happened there? Can someone
6 has
guess?
been added.
Sorry?
The number 6 has been added.
Has been added.
The
0.
number 6 replace -1.
Thank you, because we said we should push it to what? Index 4 position. And what do we have in index 4? Is what? 0, 1, 2, 3, what? 4. That's -1. So it replaced what?
By
6 replaced -1.
-1.
Thank you. That's good. Now, you could maybe also play around with the same data, or if you want to alter wherever we have in index, let's say, for example, why I was explaining this. Did you get that? Why I was explaining this, the index, I made a mistake. I think I was a bit carried away. So this should be 5. Does that make sense? This should be 4. This should be -3. This one should be what? -2. This one should be -1. Apologies for that. Yeah, so I made a mistake. So, and that was why it picked this one as what? -5. And it was added to first element on the list. So that it was a mistake from my side. So now that one is corrected, because if you want to capture the last element on the list here, just put what? If you want to change the last element of the list, use -1, and you'll be able to alter wherever you are there. Does that make sense now? Sorry, well, apologies for that. So that one is fixed and is sorted. So let's go on to the next line. So in this case, I'm using data element on the list, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. If I run that, and I want to capture 2 out of them, -1 is what? The last one, like I said the other time, the -3 is what? 2 minus 3, that's what? It should be 40, because it's from -1, -2, -3, 40. And if you check, we have it here. So we have it listed there. So now, there is something called length. So I'll call it length, but the function is called what? Length. So is a, shall I say, is a class on its own. So in this case, we have length. Length is for you to count wherever you have in a list. So you use it to count wherever you have. You can use it to count wherever you have in a string. You can use it to you can use it to, oh, someone asked question, can we print more than one element per time? Yeah, we can print more than one element. Yeah, that we can do that, but we won't do that now because we're still going to other topics that will connect to that. So let's just take it one step at a time, not to make things complicated for people. Now, if you see this now, I was able to do that. So length, let's check this length now. How many elements do we have in this list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 elements on that list. So let's check. We've done this, we've done that. So let's check the length. So let's print n. So len, let's print n. How many? That's 6. So it's counting whatever a number of elements in the list. First one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one. So we're able to get what? 6 elements. So if I add, let's say I add 10, maybe 11, 13, 17 here. If I run it again, let me run the code again. Yeah, so the position here is changed for -1. -1 index is now what? 17. The third one is what? 11. Can you see the positioning? So now, if I check the length here, the length would have changed. And let's see, that should be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's run the length and let's see the answer. Can you see it's 9? Does that make sense? Any question so far?
No, sir.
Okay, brilliant. So let's continue. So in this case now, let's say we want to print the what? Index element 6, the 6th element, or index 5 on this list. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be 60. And let's run it. We should have 60. So I've shown a series of examples there. We have fourth element, that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 40. We run that, we get 40. Now, the negative index. So in this case, I apply negative index. It's no negative index. It's counting the number of elements that we have, the length, which is the number of elements in the list using n. And if you pass that n here, in our case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? 9, which is n. So 9 minus 4 is what? 9 minus 4 is what?
5.
5.
5, brilliant. So in this case, we want to capture what? The 6th element in the list. So now let's run it. Let's run that. And what's the 6th element? Let's count it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is what? 60. That's first element, second element, third element, fourth element, fifth element, 6th element, which is in index what? Index 5 from 9 minus 4 that we said. So do you see how it works now? Yeah, okay. Brilliant.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat that again? Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, if you see, we have elements on this list. We have 9 elements here. When we use length, we use the length, which is a like call me 1 second. Let's do something. Type length. Let's see how it works. Type length is so is a function. Can you see? It's a built-in function that a class or a method. So this is a program written in the background to to perform any any work that we're doing. So this is a function, a code on its own. So I'm trying to check the function. So len is a function and you're passing your data here. So what len does is to capture the number of elements that we have in that list. Okay, let me give you a very perfect example of len. I shouldn't be in this, I shouldn't go into this now, but I want to explain to you how this is applicable to data engineering because we are talking about this basic aspect of data engineering. Let's say, for example, I have file path. equals to string. Let's say, oh, I saw something the other time. Oh, that's out. Let me see if I can capture that. Oops. Okay, 1 second. Okay, okay. You know what? Let me just do slash content. Okay, brilliant. Accept. So brilliant. I'm happy that I have this. Now look at this file. That's why I don't want to make it complicated, but we explain why we use all this length and why it's very, very important. Or maybe index, negative index. Look at this file. Or let me take this one away from here, just for us to be careful. Let's go to, where did we stop? We stopped here. So look at, for example, brilliant. So let's do this. Now look at this. The file path that we have here, the file path is content slash sample slash California slash this. Let me run this file path now. If you see this is a string, if you see, whenever you see a double inverted comma around this is a string, is capturing a file path. But this file path, I want to capture it. I want to do split paths. Split path equals to file path is even suggesting for me, which is brilliant. File path the split. You see, that's one thing, one good thing about function. So how do I want to split? It's suggesting for me, I want to split by this, by comma. If I split by comma, let's see what we have. So let's do print splits underscore path. Yeah, let's see what we have. Can you see? Can you see this is a list? Does that make sense now? So if you see this list, this is a list. Now I want to pick in, you know, we are, let's say we are interested in California. Sorry, 1 second. Let's say we are interested in this California. What do we do? How do we capture the California? Because now we apply a split and the split has given us this now. If we check the type of splits here, that should give us a list. Can you see? Because this particular string is now, we now have it as a list. So if I do take it back to print, it's going to print our list out. Can you see the type? Now, if I want to capture the last part of the list, I can do -1. Now, look at it. What did you see? Can you see? We're able to capture -1. Does that make sense? So most data engineering work requires you to look at this, a typical example of how to apply wherever I've already explained. This is a typical example. So most of the time, you will see something like this, or you might even see more folder path in thousands, in millions, which you cannot do manually. You have to, look for a way to split the files, or look through them, split them, and also capture the names. Or maybe it requires us to like capture this name as a separate column names in being appended to a CSV file. So you have to what? Do that. So this is an example, a typical example of how to apply a list. So I decided to just show you an example of what we've been doing since. So if you see, I created a list, but in this case, I didn't create a list. I only created a string. I apply split to give us list. Let me show that line here so that it will make things more readable. Show the line here, print. So in the print, we have this as a list. Can you see? And if I go to next line, type equals to lists. This is it. And what did you see there? We apply what? Negative index. Negative index. It's more easier to apply negative index when it comes to splitting of a file or name of a file, or you want to capture a particular, the last part of a file. It's more easier to use negative index because in this case, you cannot use positive because you don't know which one will be the last. Imagine, now look at it this way. Imagine you have a file here. You have another file. Sorry, let me delete this. You have another file. Okay. You have another file with dash, maybe elite slash path slash this. And you have another file here. Look at it with under here. And this is called cal this. If you use the positive index, you will not be able to capture the last. Okay, let me say. You will not be able to capture the last name because if you loop through this file and you just do positioning 0, 1, 2, 3, you get it wrong. Does that make sense? But if you use the negative index, whenever you split this file and you put -1, you capture every of the last CSV files that we have there. All CSV files name that we have, you'll be able to capture the names. Does that make sense? With negative index. So we have, in some situation, you apply positive index. In some situation like this, you apply what? Negative index. But when it comes to reading of file, especially capturing the file name, which is mostly when you are doing building data pipeline, you will encounter this a lot because you are not doing a manual process, you are automating the process, and you have to know how to capture all the names and maybe write out those files into, a destination. So you have to know how to use this negative index. Can you see? So I've shown you a typical example. So if you like, if you are working already, or you actually looking for a way to find for a way to enter data engineering space, this is a typical example of what you will do at work. I can bet it with you. If you are dealing with Python, you will do more of this at work. That's good. So now let's continue.
Sorry, sir. When you put that split part, -1, if we put 2, what happens?
Oh, 2. 2 is going to capture the next one. You remember the list.
Okay, the sample data.
-1, -2 is going to capture sample data.
Okay, all right.
If you use -3, it's going to capture content. We can do it now. Let's see. -2. Can you see? It's going to capture sample data. -3 is going to capture what? Contents. And -4 is what? This. Empty string. So let's do it. Empty string. Can you see it's empty? So it's not showing us any. That means something, that particular part is empty. So that's how it works. Now, let's go on. We have something called slicing. Do we have any question? Any questions so far? Like I said, we're making it more interactive. If you have a question, please can raise up your hand. Use the, what is it called now, an option on Zoom to raise up your hand, and I'll call you. Then, we take it off from there. Okay, in the absence of no questions, so I'll continue with slicing now. So slicing, using slicing, we can create a new list from an existing list. So for example, we have a list. We want to modify the current list that we have or existing list and create a new list entirely. Slicing will help you to achieve that. Slicing will help you to achieve that. So in slicing, there is something called 1 second. In slicing, there is something called begin. We have end, and we have step. Begin, end, and step. Like I said it helps you to create a new list from an existing list. So we have begin, end, and step. Begin, end, and step. So like I said, it's a list. So it's a list already, but we want to create a list from an existing list. Create a new list from an existing list. So now let's see an example. Let's say, for example, we have SOM. Let me change this one to SOM slicing list, just to make it more readable. So it won't be confusing whenever you see LST, LIST, you know. I like to use a different variable name to make it more straighter. You could modify the variable name to your own, maybe your own personal name, or whatever you want to do. It will still work. It doesn't matter. Now let's go on with this. So SOM slicing underscore list, we have a list here: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. In this case, the first index is 10, the first element is 10 rather, second element is 20, third element is 30, fourth element is what? 40, which is what? Index 3. So now let's go on. Let's list whatever we have here. I'm going to copy this. Please don't copy like me. Just try and type. I will advise you to type. Don't copy at all. Well, you can't copy from here because I didn't provide the notebook. So I think that's a very that's good. So just type from your side. As I am doing it, follow the steps. If you are stuck, go back to the video whenever. I will make sure. Apologies for lateness in uploading the file on YouTube. This time I will try as much as possible to get the file, the videos uploaded as soon as possible. So like for this, the first one, I will upload it maybe before the end of today or Monday, hopefully. So now, we are printing this. We see is a list. If we do type of the list, I always like to use that type, and it's very, very good. Please get used to this. Use type. Let's check our type is what? A list. Does that make sense? So now we have type list. So this list now, let's say, for example, we want to exclude the first element on the list. We're going to use this 1. So we're using SOM slicing, which is the variable name. Let's pass this in. Now we're capturing what? We're capturing from what? This. Because here we're using index 1, from index 1 upward, index 1 upward, index 1 upward. If I change this one to 2, that means index 2, 0, 1, 2, which is 30 upward. If I run this one, it's going to be 30, 40, 50, 60. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Now let's go to the next stage. The next stage is for us to capture. I want to capture from what? Index what? 3
Sorry, before
downward.
you go on,
Okay.
what you have done now,
Yeah.
the slicing you have done, because you've given us 3 types of slicing, which is
Yeah.
begin, end, and step. Now, the one you have done now, which one is it? Is it begin or is it
Brilliant.
end?
Thank you so much. That's very, very smart question to ask. You see, if you remember when I said begin, column, end, column, in this case now, what do you think it should be? This should be begin, right? Because begin, then upward, right? So wherever you have from the beginning, start from 2, index 2, upward. In this case, it's leaving empty here before the column. So the begin is, it's not showing anything here, but the end is what? Free. So it's saying index 3, column, because the end, this is begin, column, end. So end will be what? Free, and it should what? It should start from end, from begin. Begin in this case is from the beginning up to what? Index what? Free. So if I run this, it's going to give me wherever we have from what? Index what? Does that make sense? So if you see here very well, 0, 1, 2, 3. So when it comes to end, when you are ending on index 3, it's not going to capture that index 3. It's going to start from index 2 when you are using end. You see, as an example here, we have begin, column, end. End is, it should be 40. But when you are printing it out, it's not going to capture what is ending. It's going to capture 30. The same thing if I use, in this case, let me use 5. That's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you are using ending, it's not going to pick 60, it's going to pick 50. Let's run it. It's going to pick 50 downward. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Yeah. So that's how it works. So when it comes to you picking from begin upward, you're picking from the the third element on the list, which is the second index, upward. Whoever you have after third index is going to pick all of them. So here I've shown an example of begin. Here I've shown an example of end, but I've not shown an example of what? Of what? Step. So the step, already you are all familiar with step, staircase, like you take the first step, second step, you can decide. Let's say, for example, you want to go to, go to your room, or if your sitting room is upstairs, you'd want to go through steps. So you climb the staircase, you can decide to jump the first step and jump to the 5th step and go to the next 5th step. Intentionally, you could decide to like move from first step, second step, third step without skipping anyone. You could also decide to move from first step to third one, from third one to 5th one, from 5th one to 7th. And that's how it works. So it's an example of what? Step here. So it's applicable. For example, here we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I want to move from 10 to 20, from 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. Or I could intentionally move from 10 to 30, from 30 to 50, and that's it, because I'm taking 2 steps. Now, let's see the results here. SOM this. I think I've already copied that. Now, let's say I'm using index 0. Remember, if you are capturing from begin, it's going to capture the first element. Column, end. What is the end in this case? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60, right? So let me change this one to 4. I intentionally want to change it to 4. So if it's 4, what do you think 4 will be? The last element after applying this, what do you think it will be?
That should be
0,
50.
1, 2, 3, 4. What?
I said 50.
It shouldn't be 50. It should stop at 40, right? Remember what I said? I said,
It's
we're
40.
talking about index 0, 1,
The first
2,
element.
3, 4. So So the fourth is 50, right? But when you are using end, it's not going to capture this 50. It's going to stop at 40. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. I think it's a bit confusing. Let me take this off and let's run this so that you see an example. You see the, can you see now? Where is it stopping? 40 instead of 50, right? Because if you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, we are capturing up to what? 4. So this 4, when you are using end, it won't pick 50 as the end. It's going to stop at what? 40, whenever you're using end. Does that make sense? So if I change this one to 5 now, 5 is going to be, it will add 50, because this is the index what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Index 5 is what? 60. But it's not going to capture 60 when it comes to end. So let's run this. It's going to capture only 50. So now let's go to the step. The step, what it means is, I explained the other time. If you want to skip by maybe 1.
Sorry to cut you, sir. Can I make an assumption that when we're doing slicing, maybe the index should start from 1 instead of 0? Can I make that assumption to make it easy for me, or it's not a good assumption? Because from what you explained now.
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
hearing
Do you
you.
want to say something? Yeah, from what you
No,
explained
continue.
now. So if I could kind of like say it, I mean, well, my understanding is like, okay, we're taking the 0 off, and instead of starting with 0, we're starting with 1, so that we can get the actual
Okay.
slicing position.
It's slicing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can I make the assumption so that it will be easy for me to, that when I'm doing slicing, instead of my index starting from 0, it starts from 1.
Yeah, I think you just have it at the back of your mind. But
Okay.
in the real sense of it, index starts from 0 in Python. Element starts from 1. So I think if you have it at the back of your mind, that elements start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you are talking about fifth element, is going to be index 4. Is that you are taking 1 away from elements. Does that make sense? So when it comes to slicing, whenever you are using begin is, it starts directly from the first index. The index, sorry, it starts directly from the index you are picking, you are selecting, rather. So if you are using index 0 now, it means you are starting from 10. You're capturing first element, which is 10. And if you are using for end, if you are using now after the begin and you use column means where do you want to end this. So end, I want to end it maybe, for example, at 60. If you are ending at 60, it's not going to capture 60. It's going to stop at 50. Step. So after you have already captured the range that you are interested in, then you take a step. Just like you're taking step 1. Sorry, 2 steps. Let's say 2 steps now. We have 1, 2. So it's going to capture 10, 30, 50 only. Did I explain very well, or? Am I making sense? Or do you want me to go back?
Okay, just one
Yes,
example.
sir. It's just to go back to the class and watch it again. Yeah, you made sense. Thank you, sir.
Oh,
But
you're
does the step have to be twice? Because you just did 130 and 50 now. Does it have to be?
No. Thank you for that question. You could use
Can
any
you just
type
do an
of step.
example of this?
You like I gave it. Yeah, let me show you an example now. Where did we stop? Okay, we stopped here. Oh, 1 second. Okay, we stopped here. I was showing that. So let me apply. Let's say, for example, I want to use step 1. In this case, what do you think 1 would be? Based on the explanation I gave.
30.
So it should give us what? It should give us the same thing, because it's not going to change. Either you remove this or you don't apply 1. It's not going to change the value here. Let's see. Did it change anything? No, because we are not jumping. We're not jumping from one number. We're only taking one step, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So, but if I change this one to 2 now, because it's a step, okay, let me do it this way. I think it will make sense if I go back, copy this, create another line of code, and put 2 there. Yeah, that will make sense now. So let's run this. This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So in this case, like I explained, if you are using index 5, which is index 5 is going to stop at what? 50. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to stop at 50 for end. So for end is 50. So after that, we are applying 2. That means we want it to take 2 steps. 1, 1, 2, right? 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Does that make sense? So I don't have something to write on, I wish I have that. But anyway, so let's say paints. I think you're familiar with this. So let's say, for example, let me just use, oops. Ooh, okay. Okay. So this one away. Okay, the color, size. Okay, for example, now we have 5x. Okay, 6. So let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. So I want to take 2 steps now in this case. So, sorry, 1 second. So if I want to take 2 steps, 1, 2, isn't it? So we don't have any other step to take here. So it's going to be, I'm going to pick 1, I'm going to pick this, I'm going to pick this, I'm going to pick this only, because I'm taking only 2 steps. 2 steps, yeah, rather. This. Now I'm taking that. So same is applicable to what we have there. So assuming that I want to take 3 steps. I will go this way. 1, 2, 3, right? Then this is 3. This is the first one. Then 1, 2. So there is no other step to take. So I'm going to jump from 1 to what? 1, 2, 4. That's 3 steps. So now you see how it works. So if I'm going to do 4 steps, let's say, for example, I have another one here. Okay. Yeah, that will make me to just, okay, let me just clean whatever we have there anyway. So let me just, so that I'll be able to manage this. So let's do, I think you understand what I'm trying to explain. You understand now. So for example, if you, let me create more here now. So let's say we want to take 4 steps on, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first one. 1, right?
Yeah.
Then from there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Second one.
Yeah.
So this is how it works. So if you want to pick any value, you pick from here, 1. You pick from here, 2. You pick the last one, 3. So same is applicable to that. Second, let me remove this. Does that make sense now? So we're going to apply the same principle here. So if we run this now, we have the index. We said it's not going to print the 5th index. It's going to stop at the 4th one. So we are doing 2 steps. So if we do that, it's going to be from 10 to 30, from 30 to what? 50. So let's run this. That's what? 10, 30, what? 50. Does that make sense? So if I want to take step 3 now, based on the explanation I gave, what do you think this will be?
10 and 40.
10 and
Yeah.
any other
10 and 40.
suggestion?
Yeah, 10 and 40, that's it.
10 and 40, thank you. Yes, you see, because I've already explained, say 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 3 here, so 1, 2, 3. So it's going to stop at 10 and 40. So if I change this one to 4, the implication is what? 1, 2, 3. So it's going to capture 50, 10 and 50. So that's how the slicing works. So we have been able to create a new list from an existing list. So in this case, we can say new SOM slicing list equals to this. So we can now do print print list brilliant. So print a new SOM slicing list. We created a very new variable name. Then we now have this. Does that make sense? So that's how it works. And also I explained a few other, capturing the last elements on the list. So in this case now, we want to capture the last. We don't want to, let's say for example, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't want to keep using 5 because we don't know if this is going to be the last one. What if we have another 70 here? What if we have 80 here? So in order to save ourselves, what do you do? To capture the end one, you just use what? -1. Does that make sense? You use -1 in this case. -1 and starting from what? 4. Let's say I'm starting from 2 now. Let me start from 2. I'm starting from index, what? 2. That's the third element from SOM slicing list, the original one that we're using, 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. So we're starting from 30 here. Then we are stopping at, ending at what? 60. So, and it's going to be 50. So if we run this now, we should be having 30, 30, 40, 50. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're using the negative list index here to capture the last one instead of using -5 because we wouldn't know if the positioning will change. Oduro Bosra Korateng. Sorry
Yes,
if
sir.
I didn't call your name correctly. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So in this case, if you want the 60 to show, what would you have instead of the -1?
If you want the 60 to show, remember we're using slicing. Are you talking about only 60, right?
No, I want the 60 to show in the 30, 40, and 50, then 60. How do you put it?
It will show. The reason why it won't show is that you've already captured the last index. The last index.
Okay.
Remember, we're using slicing in this case. If you want to capture only 60, you're talking about you're only using list and you want to capture something from the list like this. Like -1. Does that make sense now? In this case, you just want 60 to show. But we're talking about slicing in this case. Does that make sense? So it's not going to give you. So if you want your 60 to show only, you're not going to use the end. So you
Okay.
have to use something like, in this case, it will just be like you're using -1. Does that make you? Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because you are interested in 60, so you put your 60 as the begin, then you put this one capture wherever you have after, and we don't have anything after that. So it's still
Okay.
similar to when you are doing this. Instead of using column, you can do this also.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, brilliant.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Any further question? Any question again? And let's close lists.
I'm just thinking, sorry, please. So in
Yeah.
place of the minus
Sorry,
one,
what's your name, please?
Ola Wale.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
So in place of the minus one that we had in there, so what if we put 0? If we put 0, wouldn't it capture the whole element? 0 double column.
Oh, yes. Brilliant. That's a very good one. It's going to capture the whole, because if we use 0, 0, and we put column here, it's going to capture everything that we have there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So it's going to capture it. Okay, so that's how it works. But
But
you know,
that you can use that when you are only treating a list, not slicing.
exactly, yeah. So, but if you like, you can just do it this way if you want. But it makes sense to just read the data directly instead of putting column. You understand? Because you are not modifying what you have in the list. What you have on that list, so just change whatever you have there, and and that's it. But you have to be very careful when to apply this. You understand? You have to be very careful. You have to know when. Knowing when is very, very important when it comes to data engineering. Like I said, data engineering is more logical. It's more logical reasoning, mathematics, and something abstract. And it requires, a bit of. It's not necessary you know maths. You understand? Just be able to logically reason. I think that's how it works. So it's not something something difficult. So that's how it works. Like I gave you an example of this. I gave you an example of this. So this should resonate now. Whenever you find yourself working on a project, you see oh, okay, I've seen something like this before. So I think, oh, I know what to do. I know how to deal with that. So that's how it works. So also we have okay, so I've explained this. Range, you can list range. If you are familiar with range, okay, let me just give an example here. So let me take this off. So for range, let me say range prints range 9. So when you are doing range is just like it's another way. I use this a lot too. Is another way to maybe how should I say? Is that another way to get elements in a list? Sometimes you use range also to read columns of data. You use it different ways, but in this way, let me just use, let me just explain in a layman's way. So range, if you see here, range is what? 0 to what? 9. So if we list whatever we have in the range, for me. Okay. So we see the range as what? If you list whatever we have in the range is what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like, if you look at this range very well, do you see that it's similar to index? Did you notice that?
Yes, sir. I was going to ask if it was indexing all the elements.
You understand? So it's similar to index. It's similar to index. So sometimes you could use like this range to capture wherever you have from data. You can use it to list whatever element that you have in the list based on their position. This index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a very good way of capturing, most especially when you are reading columns of data. Is very, very, very effective. Very, very, very effective. And another way to deal with this when it comes to the column of data is using length. You use your length. When you use the length to capture the number of columns that we have, then you can also now apply a range. Apply a range to capture the. So, I don't know how to. I think I'm making things complicated, but let's leave it at this level. Now,
How many close brackets are you using? Because I can see.
Yeah, we mentioned range of 9, first one. Then we use a list as a function or a method, second one, and we are printing, third one.
Okay.
If you see, just follow the color. Color this. Can you see the color? Varies. This. So we're printing now. So in this case, you can, you can just do for, let's say for no, don't let me go here. When we cover that, we'll go there. I'll make it complicated. So can you see an example now? So this is range, and from here you can even use it to access wherever you have in the list. Yeah. For example, you have some situation where a data will come with like 1,000 columns. How do you want to read that data? Does that make sense? So data comes with 1,000 columns. So what do? You use range to read the data. Just put 1,000 here. 1,000 means it's going to list from here to what? 199. And here you can use it to read the columns. So it's very, 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 very useful. That's why I say data engineering requires logical thinking. How do I apply this? How do I deal with this complex data, complex columns? So how do I read it? What do I need to get from it? So you use range, you use all this stuff. They help a lot. Okay, so let's go on. So we have an example.
I'm sorry, I have a question, please. I don't know if I missed it. We have 3 close brackets there. I don't know why we have, 2 after the first one.
Oh, okay.
Is there any reason for that, please?
Yes, this is range.
Okay.
I give an example of range. Okay. I think I made it a bit complex. Let's go back a bit. Okay, let's do one after the other. So this is our range. Range it shows from 0 to 10, right? This is range. When you say something is range, so 0 to 10, but it's not going to capture. If you want to create the list from this range now, it's going to be lists of range. Oops. List of range. So remember the first 2 brackets plus brackets. The second one, we're creating a list from this range that we have here. So it's saying from 0 to 10, it's going to give us the list will be 0, 1, 2, 9. Remember the index that you asked question about the other time. So here you see 0, 1, 2, 3 for range. So if you want to add prints, it's not necessary you add print because it's still going to give you the same results. You understand? But because we are using Google Colab. So even if you apply this, you see the results here. So if we apply print here, it's still going to give us the same results. So I was trying to say something the other time about this. So let's say for no, I don't want to use list range 10. No, don't let me do this. Don't let me do this. Don't let me do this. Okay, let's just keep it that way. So I've explained this now. Oduro Bozra, I will get back to you in a minute. So now, here, an example here, we have printed the range from 0 to 20, and we see it starts from 0 index 0 to what? 19, which represents the last one. So if we want to delete from, remember the slicing, begin, end. So if you begin with something, you are beginning with something, you start with index what? 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anything we are deleting, we start from 5 upward. And which one is 15?
14.
This is 15, right? So it's going to stop at what? 14. Thank you. So it's going to stop at 14. It's going to delete whatever we have here. So let's run this and let's see. Can you see? Start from 5, deleting from 5, stopped at what? 14 here. So it's deleting everything that we have here. Does that make sense? So now we've seen an example of slicing, how we're able to create a new list entirely, using this method and from there. So back to your question, what's your name again?
Oduro, sir.
Oduze. Yes.
Oduro.
Now, sorry?
Oduro.
Oduro. Okay,
Yes,
Oduro.
please.
Okay. Yeah, you can go on,
Sir,
Oduro.
I just wanted to find out if we could apply the len to the range to see the length.
Oh, yeah.
the-
Yeah, of course. Of course, you can use the length because it's a list already. If you see here, we have it as a list, then you can apply length here. So let me give an example. You could decide to like use length around here. Say this is a typical example, length. Yeah, pass it around. And it will tell you how many length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. 10. Can you see?
Okay, great.
The length. It's just counting all the elements in the list.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
you're welcome. Then let's go on. So we've been able to play around this. Then we go down to this. So in this case, let's see what we have here. So it's going from where? From 2 to 20, step what? 2. Remember the step. So we are still applying slicing to that range. So start from index 2. That's 0, 1, 2 here, right? End at 20. So we are using the actual, remember we're using range now. End at 20. 20 is going to be 19, which is the last one. And take 2 steps. 2 steps. That's 2, 4, 6, 8. Does that make sense? So 2, 4, 6, 8. So let me explain this way. I think let me break this down. It will make sense if I break it down a bit. Oops. Okay. Let's do it this way. Okay. There you go. So if we run this now, let's print B. Can you see the B? It's starting from 2. If I say start from 1 now, from range, start from 1, it's going to start from 1 up to what? 19. So now, if I go further and say, okay, starts from 1 to 20 and take 3 steps. 3 steps, then let's run it now. This, and let's see our results. B equals can you see? 1, 2, 3. That's 4. 1, 2, 3. 7. 1, 2, 3. 10. 1, 2, 3, 13, 1, 2, 3, 16, 1, 2, 3, 19. Does that make sense now?
Yes, sir. Very
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah, thank you. So, do you want us to take a break and continue, or should we just continue? So if you want to reflect on what we talked about.
Let's continue. Let's continue.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we should continue, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So let's go on. So now, I want to play a trick here. Now look at this. Here, I want someone to tell me, oh my word. Okay. That's brilliant. Okay. Now, I want somebody to tell me the answer to this. If I do B delete B index 0 and B3, what do you think the answer will be? Can someone tell me? Let's write it down here. If I go through this, you see we have we have B here, and B has generated 1, 4, 7, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. What will be the final answer if I apply del B0 and B3? Can someone tell me the final answer?
So I want to try.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. No crime in trying.
I'm thinking because of the comma, it's gonna give you two lists. The first one, all of them with 1 missing, and then the second one, all of them with 7 missing. That's what I think.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, any other opinion? Any other?
I think it will just delete element 1
Okay.
and element 10, and then give you list of 4, 7, 13, 16, 19.
Okay,
That's what I
4,
think.
7, what again?
4, 7, 13,
Okay.
16, and 19, I think.
16, 19. Any other suggestion?
Line with the loudspeaker.
Sorry? Any other suggestion?
Yeah, I said my suggestion is it align with the last speaker.
The last speaker, okay, that's brilliant. Okay. Any other person again?
I think it's the first
I
four.
want to go with the first person for the first one, B, 0. That is all of them excluding 1. And the second set of elements will be 1, 4, 7, excluding 10, 13, 16, 19.
Okay. 1, 4, 7, excluding what?
10, element 10, without
Element 10. Element 10. Okay, let's see. Any other suggestion? Okay, any other suggestion? Okay, let's see our answer then. Let's run this and let's see. Now we have B here. We already know B is this, so let's run it. Let's see our results. Okay, let's see what B is going to give us. B, what's our new B? So who is right?
Yes.
So
1,
we
4,
have 4, 7, 10, 16, 19.
16,
So
19. No, it's right.
you are both wrong. So why do you think it's like that? Any suggestion from anyone?
So I want to try again.
Okay, how did we arrive at 4, 7, 10, 16, 19?
With the result, I'm thinking that, first of all, it created a list and deleted 0, which is 1. So then we had a new list of 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. Then
Okay,
it did the second.
Sorry, 4, 7,
10,
10,
13, 16, and
16,
19.
19.
Brilliant.
Then
Okay.
he did the second operation, which is
Yeah.
to delete the third one. So the third from here will be 4, 7, 10, 13.
Brilliant. You're right.
Thank you,
So
sir.
the first operation happened with B0, deleting the first index, and we're able to generate 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. Then the next operation, remember, 13 is here. Oh, sorry. 13, 16, 19. So the first operation, which is B equals to 0, let's do it this way. Let me show you what happened. So let's take one step after the other. Okay, let's do. So the first operation there, I will start from here so that we'll pick the right. Yeah, can you see? The first operation, let's do B now. B, can you see? 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. The second operation will now operate on the third element. The fourth element. That's the third index. 0, 1, 2, 3. 13 is going to delete this 13, and we are going to be left with what? 4, 7, 10, 16, 19. Does that make sense now? So let's run it again. 4, 7, 10, 16, 9. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of maybe splitting it and writing twice, we just do B3 together, and it will perform the same operation. It will first do the first one, then do another delete again. Yeah, so that's good. Now we're doing very, very great. Brilliant. So we're going to do a few things related to lists. So from here, I think we'll just wrap up with anything related to lists. So like I gave an example of this. Fruits, created this list. And like I said the other time, I always use type. I told you to be using type to check the type of your, that's list, right? So in this case, we want to use count as a function. So this count is a separate function. And if we check it now, let me check type counts for you. Then let's see. You see? Oops. It's expecting me to do this. Oh, did I make any mistake here? Okay, anyway, I'll check it. Let me do. Okay, okay, that's integer type count. Okay, that's for the number because we're using counts. Okay, now let's do something here. Here, this is elements inside this fruit as a variable name. We have as a list. We have orange, apple, pear, banana, kiwi, orange, banana again. So here is doing some counts here. It's checking through the list and it's doing counts, and it can see banana appearing twice. Can you see banana appearing twice? So if we do fruit.count, it's going to count bananas too. Do we have tangerine here? It's going to be 0. Can you see, because we don't have tangerine here. So if I change this one to kiwi, it's going to count kiwi as what? 1. It's doing the counting. It's doing the counting as 1 here. And it's doing the counting as 1. And if I do orange now, how many orange? 2 oranges. We have. If we run this one, it's going to give me as 2. And if we want to capture the index, so we have another thing called index. So index of banana. Let's see what we have. Saying is what? 6. Are we correct? 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So banana index is what? 4. 6, sorry. Okay. Does that make sense? So what I did
Two
here was,
bananas there. Sorry, we have two there. Why is it
yeah, but
picking just the last one?
yeah, because from what I gave here, I said after the first banana, you understand, from the fourth position, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see? For here, this fourth banana, it should select another banana. You know, that's the meaning of this 4. So I intentionally picked the position of the first of this banana and then did the counting to capture the index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So index is what? 6. So let me see something here. So you see index 3. So in this case, it's capturing only the first banana. 0, 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense? So it's capturing only the one in index 3, not 6. So in case I want to capture the one in index 6 now, I'll just do 4. That's the position. Remember, element 4. I'm not using index. It gives 1, 2, 3, 4. So element after the first banana, capture the next banana. It's going to be 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So for our fruit now, we can reverse. We can start from beginning and reverse wherever we have on the list. Sometimes reverse is go. Can you all see my screen?
You were yet to explain the reverse of
The
the
reverse,
fruit.
yeah.
Okay, but can you see my screen now?
Yes, of course.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to continue with the okay. A second, just trying to fix something here. Okay, there you go. Okay, brilliant. So we have the let me do some settings there. Okay, so now let's continue from where we stopped. So I explained reverse, which we all we understand very clearly. So I'll start with the reverse. Okay, I explained reverse. I think I was explaining reverse. The reverse is just, turning everything backward, like you flipping it. So I give an example of this is the original reverse, and if you apply original list. So if you apply reverse, it is going to turn it from from the last element on the list. It will make the last element of the list as the first. So in this case, we have banana, we have orange back, we have kiwi as the third element, banana as the fourth element, pear as the second element, then apple as the second to the last, and orange and as the last one. Now, let's go to append. Append is very, very important. In fact, I think most of the time you see yourself doing appending, because, for example, you have data coming in every day. You want to make sure you keep the current data and also add the new data, the incoming data to your current data. So that's how it works. You use append to do that. So it will keep adding to, to wherever you have an existing data to create a new updated or an updated data or file. So if we use, in this case now, I want to append Ola Apple, or let me say SOM Apple to this. I want to append, so this is fruit. So we've reversed it, right? So we want to append to this now. If I want to append to this, let's see what we've added. SOM Apple has been added as the last one. So now we can keep adding and adding and adding to this. Okay, so let me see this example. Let's see. New fruits. Let's see if it's gonna work. So orange, apple, avocado, what should I do? Avocado, strawberry,
mango.
Mango, thank you. Hello. Mango.
Guava.
Cherry. Oh, cherry, thank you. Then we have guava. Okay. So let's say we have this. This is a list. So I can do for fruit. No, I won't use fruits. Let me say for F, a new fruits. Fruits. Okay. Okay. New fruits. Fruits dots append. It's even giving me so that's one good thing about F. Fruits. So now we have an existing fruit, right? These are our fruits. Orange, apple, pear, banana, kiwi, this. Then we created a new fruit. So now I want to update whatever fruit that we have here to a new fruit. So if I run this one now, can you see? Can you see? This is a new fruit. So I looked through this new fruit and I went through it one after the other: avocado, strawberry, mango, cherry. This is the new fruit entirely. Let's say these are an example of new data. This is our existing data, fruit. So fruit, then I pass in. So I look through this, wherever we have in the list, one after the other. If you want to check that, you can print F. Let me print F here so that you see. If I print F, here is the lists. Call it this F. Okay. So let me print this one out. Can you see? So now if you see here, I intentionally try to list wherever we have under this: avocado, strawberry, mango, cherry, guava. Here they are all here. That's why I say here is the list, and I put column here to capture it. And I capture it. After capturing it, I was able to append. And I say append all whatever we have here, append it to the existing one, which is fruits. So we have orange, apple, pear, banana, kiwi, orange, banana, SOM apple. Did we have SOM apple there? Okay. Where is SOM apple?
The first one you did. First append you did.
Yeah.
Append, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was
We
captured.
created one.
Yeah, I created one here. Let me see. Where is it? I can't find it here.
It should be up. During the
Up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't notice.
No.
I think maybe let me just run the code again.
Maybe you deleted it.
Deleted it, but I didn't run the code. So let's run the code from here. We have a new list. SOM app. Oh, it's still there. Interesting. So I think I use append somewhere. So let me run this one again. Type fruits. Can't. I think this should clear it. This should clear it. Reverse. So let's see. You shouldn't see SOM apple anymore. I think it's gone.
Yeah.
So now let's do it again. Let's run our code. Can you see? No more SOM apple because I
Yeah.
deleted it and I didn't run the code again.
Yeah.
So now you see we've appended all the new fruits to this new list now. We have created a new list entirely. So that's append is very, very, very important. If I had to this one now, it's going to append again. If I had to this one now, let's say, if I add, let's say SOM mango. Yeah. So if I run these fruits, new fruits, SOM is going to add to SOM mango. You should see the SOM mango. Can you see? That's how append works. And it's very, 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 very fair. Oh, see the append. Yeah, I think I ran it before initially. So SOM apple. So if I run this one now, it's going to append to that again. You see, SOM apple is going to show. Look, SOM apple after running. Can you see that? So that's how append works. You keep appending, and here you can sort. You can sort by ascending order or descending order, but by default is ascending order. So if I run this one now, you see when you are sorting is what is going to ascend from up from A up to X. That's apple, avocado. Can you see A, B, C, D up to S? So that's how it works. I think I will not be covering this intentionally. I don't want to really complicate things for everyone here. So I will skip this matrix one. The matrix, we skip that one and we'll continue with tuple because this is more important. Let's forget about that. If you are interested in maybe knowing more about matrix, all the stuff, based on your experience in mathematics, you see, it's like you see mathematics here now for those that are into maths. Because I remember one of my brothers, I think you're into mathematics. So you see, welcome to your space. So you could maybe develop yourself in that, when it comes to matrix, using Python to deal with matrix. But for now, I will advise just continue with, we'll continue from here after, just develop on the list aspect that we've covered, and then we'll continue, then you'll be able to advance your skill. Now, let's go to tuple. We have tuple. Tuple is similar to list. What makes it different? Can someone tell me what makes it different here? If you see, notice it. Can you point out something here from what I've shown here? What makes tuple different from list?
It can't you can't amend, like you can't modify tuple, like either
Okay.
add or move, unlike list.
It's the brackets.
It's the bracket.
The bracket you use here is the other one, square bracket was used. This one, tuple is in this.
And
Brilliant.
in this
there
one,
is a combination of strings
string
and
String and
integers.
numbers.
Yeah.
And integers, yeah.
But what? Okay, that's brilliant. Okay. So another what? So somebody said bracket, right? I think I'm going to follow that person that mentioned brackets, because tuple could be combination of numbers, string. It could be, string only. It could be numbers only. But brackets, number one. Any other thing? Any other thing to mention? What makes tuple different from list? Because when you are going for interview, they will ask this question most of the time. And it's very, very important for you to know the difference between list and tuple. Okay, let me come in. If you see, tuples are similar to lists. Number one, tuples are immutable. That means you cannot play around wherever you have there. Somebody mentioned it. thanks for mentioning that. You can't play around data that you have. Wherever element that you have in the tuple, you can't play around it. You can't amend, you can't delete. And remember the parentheses and square bracket. So we have parentheses in this case. Can you see open and close bracket? And for list, we have it as always as what? If you remember, as this. This one is what? Like a square brackets. And the other one is what? Parentheses, open and close brackets. Aduro. Hey, is it? Sorry, Aduro, right?
Oduro.
Oduro, sorry. I'm so sorry. Apologies. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, I was answering. I was saying it's made up of strings and integers. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
great. Thank you. Yes. So now let's go on. So these are tuple, and we able to pick up that we have parentheses. What makes it different from list is that list has got square brackets, tuple, parentheses. Tuples are immutable. Why lists are mutable? Mutable and immutable. One immutable means you won't be able to amend wherever you have there. But when it comes to list, you can append, you can play around, you can, play trick around tuple. And that's it. So let's continue. Let's continue with what we have here. Let's see a few examples here. So we have tuple here. We have tuple. Okay. Just want to check if section is big. Okay. We have tuple here. Example tuple. I'll be string physics 15 8 2000 this. So if I run this, I can check the type. Type, like I always check. Remember, I always check the type so that we understand that. Oh, okay. Let me just print. You can decide to remove print if you want. Or in this case, can you see class is a class? So it's a class tuple. So it's a class on its own. On its own is a class. If you do this, still the same thing. So it's going to give you the result. Tuple, class tuple. But if you do print to give you the whole stuff, if it's a class, it's going to include it. If it's object, it's going to give you details. So it's a class tuple. So there is a programming language, called class. So this is a background code. So we are using a code to make some modification to our some of our data in this case. So we have class tuple. So let's go on. But in order to make tuple to amend data in tuple, what do we have to do? We have to convert it to a list. You convert tuples to what? A list. Convert tuples to a list. You convert it to a list. So, and for us to convert it to a list, let's go on. Let's see an example here. Let's see what we have here. Let me play around this one first. So we have here, let's convert this one to a list. Let's say new list underscore tup1 equals to list. So I'm converting that tuple1 to list tuple1. So let's run it. Now I've converted it to a list. Now let's print our list. Can you see? Can you see it changed from what? From where? From the parentheses to what? The square brackets. Brilliant. So we have successfully converted this one to a list. Let's check if it's a list. Type. Then let's pass in the name list underscore to 1. Yeah, brilliant. To 1. Good. Let's run it. Then we see is now a list. So that's how it works. Let's check another example. We've created these integers, index 1, this and that. Then if we run it, we convert it to a list, and we're able to what? Print wherever we have, there as a list. One thing about tuple is that you can also, access data there. Normally you can access data wherever data you have here. You could maybe, for example, we have tuple 2. You will be able to access wherever you have there 0, print it, print wherever you have there from the index, our normal index that we did. So index 0, capture it, index 1, from there also index 2. But one thing about is that you won't be able to delete wherever you have inside the tuple until you convert it to a list. So now, when you want to add anything, you want to modify tuple, you convert it to a list, then now modify wherever you have in the list, and then convert it back to what? Tuple. Does that make sense? So that's the best way to deal with tuple. Tuples, you modify it, convert it back to list. After converting back to list, if you want to use append, if you want to do reverse, if you want to do whatever and play around it, you understand, you'll be able to do it. But you deleting something from tuple, you won't be able to do that. If you're adding something to tuple, you won't be able to do that. If you are trying to modify the positioning, just like we did the other time where we did tuple equals to this, let's say 10. Let's see if it's possible. Can you see? Did you see what happened? It said it does not support what? Item assignment, because you cannot amend wherever you have inside the tuple, only if it's a list. So for example, now after converting this to a list, this is a list 3 now. Let's use list 3. LST3. Position 1 is 0, 1, 2. We want to convert it to 10. Let's see the results. Oh, okay, list 3, sorry, rather. Can you see? It's done. So if we check our new list now, you see that we can print list 3 and this will be 10, 10. We've changed the position. But for tuple, you won't be able to do that because it's immutable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So let's go on. Let's continue. So I've shown you an example of that. Now, if you want to convert the list to tuple, just pass in tuple and pass in the list. Use this function tuple and pass in the list. So can you see? So this one is the list now. So if I do type around it, it would have converted it to tuple. Type around wherever we have here. It's gonna be what? Can you see? Tuple is converted it. If you put type around here, if you put type around here, it's gonna give us list. Can you see the difference? Now, let's go to dictionary. I think we've covered a lot today. Can we have a quick break, maybe 10 minutes break?
Yes.
Yes, 10 minutes. Let's come back, or let's make it 15 minutes just for us to relax, and refresh and, play around, refresh on what we've covered so far. Let's come back like 2:45. And if you have question, after break, please feel free to ask. So I'm going to pause the recording now. Yes, welcome back, everyone. So
So
Yeah, so we're going to start with dictionary. We're going to start with dictionary. Dictionary is different from list, is different from tuples. Dictionary is all about key and value pairs. Key and value pairs. That's what dictionary is all about. If you see from what I have, and we have, a different, sign entirely. A bracket makes it different from tuple, makes it different from list, and is in key and value pair. If you see, we have key, we have column, value, key, and column, value. So that's how dictionary appears. So from this dictionary, we can intentionally, we can capture the keys. We can also capture values from dictionary. We can capture keys and we can capture value. So let me just give an example. For I, key, or J in tel.items. When it comes to dictionary, what I'm trying to do here is to list whatever we have. So I can do prints. I don't want to make it complicated, but I just want to explain how we are extracting the key and how we are getting all the values. Prints F. I and J. So we have keys and value. We have key, value. Key, a value associated with the key. We have the value associated with this particular key. So if I run this one, I run this, I'll be able to capture the key and the value. The key and the value. And for you to get whatever you have within dictionary, you use items. So I shouldn't be using this one now because we still have for loop to cover. I just have to tell you how, to play around this. So we have key and value. Can you see? I can say this is the key and J is the value. So let me run this one again. Can you see Jack is the key and 4098 is the value. Sarah is the key and 4139 is the value. So I'm just trying to loop through this to capture wherever we have. So like I said, this is the key, this is the value, key, value. So I try to extract this. So anyway, let's put this aside. So I use that one to explain what we mean by key and what is meant by value. So now in this case, now we want to capture the value from particular key. We can do that, but in this case, we want to add this key. We want to assign this particular value to that key. Let's see what we have. Just like in our list, you remember the list. How we're able to do that based on the position in the index, using the index, and we're passing the element. So in dictionary, you pass in the key here and you add the value here. So if we click on this, you see the key and value is now added. Ola as the key, this as the value. If I run this one here, if I put it under here now, you will see it would have been added. The new code will now be Ola. Can you see Ola is the key and 4100 is the value. So I'll take this off. So now, let's say for example, we want to delete a key and value here. We want to delete a key and value. We want to delete the key. Sarah here. So we can use del Remember, you can play around dictionary, not like tuple. So this is mutable. So if you do this, you'll be able to delete Sarah there. So I've explained how to add a new key and the value, and how to delete that key and the value. Does that make sense? Any question?
So, please, what does TEL mean?
Oh, I've explained before. If you follow the list, you remember when I did lists? I think I used DL for list. You remember, yeah? Del.
Yeah.
That is deletes.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the TEL.
Oh, TEL is just a variable name. I use a variable name. Remember, I told you you could use anything. What's your name?
Odro.
Oduro. So I can use tel Oduro here.
Okay.
And just do tel Oduro for in tel Oduro, yeah. You know, it's just a variable name just to, you see. So I can play around, use your name here. Here, change it to tel Oduro again. It doesn't matter. You understand? It will still give me the same result. Tel Oduro here. Next day. Tel Oduro. So I'm going to use your name now. All true. If you don't mind, permit me to do that. Okay. So now, Tel Oduro, then can you see? It's not changing anything. If I delete some from it, Sarah is gone. That's it. Tel Oduro. If I play around this one, I'm just trying to capture the list from that particular I'm capturing the keys here in this case. So I'm capturing that using capturing them as lists, and yeah. So that's how it works. What else do I want to explain again?
Sorry, sir. I'm just looking at the query you use to call out the list. This
Okay.
for high, comma, J.
Yeah.
Yeah, this query, sir. Can you break this query down for us, please?
Yes, I will break it down in the next section after completing this, because it's like I'm breaking protocol in this case. So, but intentionally I wanted to explain what we mean by key and what we mean by value. I intentionally did that so that you understand this jack is the key. The number here after this column is the value. So you see it listed just for you to know, to understand it better. So, but when we get to the next stage of, conditional statement, looping, then I will explain that. We should be able to cover maybe part of it today if possible. So del, I've explained del. I'm deleting this key. Sarah is out of the, wherever we have here. And now, for example, we want to create a new list, a new dictionary. This the list here. So a new dictionary here, we're using dict. Dictionary is dicts. So dictionary is dicts. So we're passing in key. I'm using Yomi. Let me use Oduro in this case. Oduro, and let me check other names just to, yeah, Jamie. So we have Jamie and we have David. We have David. So for this now, let's say this is tel2 Oduro. So tel2 Oduro now, we're creating a dictionary, which is different from the one we created before. So tel2 Oduro, let's read the dictionary now. Here, what do we have? This is a new dictionary, key and value. Passing, this is the key, we pass in the value. This is the key, Jamie, passing the value. David, passing the value. And if we run this code, we have it as this. So in this case now, let's say we want to capture, we want to find what we have as Oduro here. In this case, pass it in tell Oduro, right? That's the name, variable name. Now let's run it. Can you see? The value is what? 1480. For Jamie, let's pass in Jamie here. That's it. Does that make sense? So, you know, in some cases, let's say, for example, okay, let's say this is tell Oduro, right? Okay, and I want to capture David only. Look at this. For I in J, for IJ in tell2 dot Oduro dot items. Okay, so items, you see, I want to do something very interesting there. So okay, I'm coming. If no, I don't want to use if. I don't want to use. I'm trying to be very okay. So okay, let me just do okay, let me do okay lists. Okay. Okay, sorry. For I'm coming. Let me do for I in list. Okay. I'm coming. Okay, for I in the Oduro get list. Okay. 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 So I'm converting this one to, let me print I. I will explain this, please. Just give me a few minutes. So, okay, so you have this one now. So this is I. So if I choose I as -1, I want to capture the last one. That makes sense. No, 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 no. Okay, okay, let's do it this way. I think this makes sense. -1. Okay. Okay. This -1. Oh, brilliant. Oh, sorry. I think there's a mistake somewhere. List, okay. We have the list, okay. And in our lists, okay. So for I in print I. Brilliant. So I okay. So no. I know what's happening, but I'll revert to it. So now, okay, so okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here. So now we have Oduro. I've created this, so I want to capture the keys. Oh, okay, because it's still Oduro now. So I changed the name. Sorry, I wasted time there. So now, Oduro, can you see the keys now? So here we have keys. We are capturing keys. We are capturing value. So yeah, this is the best thing to do here. So we have keys, Oduro keys, and we have Oduro values. Oduro's value. So if you look at this, we have keys and we have the values. Values are, you know, I explained, give an example of values the other time. This now, if you look at this, we have the keys, which is this. So if you use keys, dot keys as a function, it's going to capture wherever we have as a key, and then it's going to capture use values, is going to capture as value. So it's equivalent to using I and J here, dot items. If you understand, I said it's the keys and the value. So it's still the same thing as using keys and what? The values. So in keys, you can also use sorted. You can use sorted and reverse wherever you have. Tell to Oduro. So for Oduro now, you can revert it. Does that make sense? So in this case, we're just trying to capture this Oduro, and we're capturing the keys only, and we're trying to do the reverse. Sorted by alphabetical order. In D is the first letter here, not greater than A. D is not greater than J. J is not greater than O. So it's doing the same sorting by ascending order. And because we said reverse equals to what? False. If I say reverse equals to true, it's going to turn it around and change it and make Oduro as the first one, Jamie as the second one, and David as the third one, because we apply reverse equals to what? True. So let me take it back to false. It's going to change it back to false, and it's going to bring this as a list. Let's see type of this. Can you see a list? You saw the list the other time, so it created it as a list. Can you see? Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah. So now let's continue. We have sorts, so we don't need this sorted anymore. So, this is by default. This is going to be, but if I do sort Oduro, by default, it's going to generate this. But if you want to modify it, you can change this one to true. So anytime you just put sorted, it's going to do ascending order by default. Ascending order by default until you start applying, okay, make changes to this using reverse equals to true. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions so far?
So, would you be kind enough to go through the dictionary once again, please?
Okay, let me just go back again. So for dictionary, I mentioned keys and value, right? I will copy this one. I won't do anything here. I'll delete it. So I mentioned keys and value, and I mentioned that I said for you to identify dictionary, you see this sign, right? Number one, then you see keys and value. It's not like this. This is another one entirely, so which we're going to cover after this. So, but for dictionary is like this. You see the sign, the symbol, and you see that bracket. Then you see keys and values. Keys and values. Then, so if you want to add a value with that another key, you add the key here and you pass in the value. And if you do that and you run this, you will get it passed in. Something is happening. Z now. Can you see? It's in. So if you want to delete, you can also delete Sarah. If you delete Sarah, it's going to delete by key and value. If we run again, Sarah is not there anymore. You can create a list from here. From here, you see, you can grab this and come in. Let me do new list equals to this. Okay. Yeah, list minus 1. Did you see that? You see, we're trying to create a list from the dictionary. So now we have our dictionary here. We have our dictionary key and value, key and value. We added the key. We deleted the key here. We're left with this, right? So we want to extract only a list. That's only the key. I pass in that as a list. Pass this as a list. It's going to capture only the keys. And I was able to pick the last key using the index. Remember when I introduced list index? The last index, the last element on the list, -1, right? Did you see that? -1. So you could maybe use this while you are doing data engineering, when you are doing ETL and data cleansing or transformation, wherever. So you could use this, for that. I also explained. Did I make myself easy? Do you understand clearly now?
Yes, sir. And I was also wondering, what's the purpose of this? Why would you need to have something like this?
Okay.
So
Why you need it is, for example, let me see if I have any Excel file here. 1 second. Let me see if I have a file here. Mm, 1 second. Let me see. I don't know if I have any file. Yeah, I think I have a file here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a very good example. Thanks for asking that question. I think I will use this one to explain. Oh, the UK data. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Okay, we are here. Let's assume that we are here. Okay. Data example. No. Using tests. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a good one. Okay, so let me import that data. Let me see where we have it. Let me save it under my download. UK data CSV. Download. UK data CSV download. Okay, so let me play around this. Import this data. UK data CSV. Okay. Do we have it there? I think we have it. So let's copy the path. Copy path. That's the path. Okay. So let's do import pandas as PD. Okay. Import OS. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to the next line. Okay, let's see data frame. Underscore CSV. This folder parts. Okay. Okay. Print. Data frame. Okay. So look at this data now. Can you see the data I just imported, right?
yes, sir.
Good. Now I just want to give you, this is a real example of I do want to make it complex, just to go further and use this, but, because you asked for real example. Okay, now you see the data, the CSV file that I opened. Yeah, let's say this is the data that you're expecting now. This is the data you are expecting here, early underscore name, this and that, and this is the key. These are the keys, right? These are the values. Does that make sense now?
There's
So
more
now,
than one key.
sorry?
There's more than one key.
More than one keys. Exactly, more than one key. Early underscore name, early underscore code, middle age. These are the keys, the values there. So in this case now, let's say, for example, we want to play around this. We've been able to read the data. Okay, let me go back here. Let's say for I in, okay, let's do it this way. Data frame dot keys. Did you see that?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it not making sense now?
Yes, sir.
Is
These
is
are keys.
sorry?
These are the keys.
Exactly. So for example, for I J in data frame dot items, if if LA underscore name in I, brilliant. Print J. Did you see that? I told you key and value. I think I will use key, right? And value. Let me use that, to make it more easier for you to understand. If I in key, then print the value.
Okay.
Does that make sense now? If you run it, what do you see? You see all the values.
Yes, sir.
Which is equivalent to what column? If you check the column very well, you will see that we're printing earlier underscore name, which is what? Darlington country values. Values. Does that make sense now?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant. Now I'm happy that I'm able to use this as an example. So, so now look at it this way also. Let me highlight this. Let me highlight this. Oops, sorry. Highlight it correctly. Let me highlight this and let's run it and keep it. So, I gave an example the other time. I mentioned data frame.keys, right? And I created a list. Let's say a list from data frame.columns. Now, can you see? Can you see all the columns? If I want to look through these columns now, you know what I would do? Let me tell you what I want to do. I will just use, if I want to capture the last one, what do I do?
-1.
-1. You see how it's applicable now in the real data. Is it making sense now? Now,
Yes, sir.
let me play another trick for you so that you say, okay, now you understand why we're doing all this stuff. Look at this column. How many columns? How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. According to the data that we have here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did we have? Okay, I think we have processing time also. Processing time somewhere, right? Yeah, processing time 7. So it's 7 in number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brilliant. So now let's say we want to take the length.
Mm.
7. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
let's do another trick. Let's do another trick. Range dates of, sorry, range len of dates underscore column. What do you see now? Lists underscore this. What do you see? So here we can do for I in list this, print I, and when you print I for I in this range list, coming, maybe I made a mistake somewhere. Let me see for I list. Okay, in range, so we don't need this. In range, oh, there's a mistake somewhere. Can you see? So here, if you print this, you can use this one to look through the data. I don't know if I'm making sense now. You see, now you're able to capture the column in based on what?
Index.
Index. Is that making sense now? You're able to capture, if I want to read this data now, let me say I want to read this data, look at it. Look at it. I can decide to say I'm using I, right? I can use for I in this data, I can use if I is equal to 1, right? Then print data frame, because it's even suggesting for me. So suggesting data frame, okay, dot column equals to what? I. Just put I there because we've already said I is 1. So just passing I and see. What did you see there?
So these are the things in the column 1.
So let's take this off because we've already done printing. So what did you see? Is 1. It's going to give column 1 and index what? Index 1. Index element index 1. Remember?
The second column.
Exactly, because already you remember we mentioned that I in ranges from 0, 1, 2, 3 from the print. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. So now
Is it
how do we apply the dictionary as well? The keys and values. Okay.
We've done that already.
Yeah.
We've already played around. I show you the keys here. I showed you an example how to grab only the columns from here. And if you want to grab the values, you can do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense now? So you see, so wherever I'm teaching you, I'm not just teaching you to, you understand, I'm teaching you the practical aspect of it. That's why I try to import data, read data, see how we're able to capture the keys, use the range that I explained in the beginning, you understand, to capture the columns and also print it out. Is it making sense now?
Yes, sir.
That's data engineering for you. So the basic Python I'm covering for you is very, very important. If you understand and master it, you'll be able to manipulate data wherever way you want. For example, now if I want to manipulate this data, now let me give you an example now. You see, I try to, let me do okay, filepath. You see why I'm teaching you all this. I think it will make sense more. We understand better now. So file path, this file, oh, okay. Say good. I know the reason. Okay. So file path, good. Data frame, so I can pass this one in as file path here, which I don't need to, file path here. If I pass it in, because of the string here, so can you see it's loading? So I can do whatever I want to do. Oh, sorry. I can do whatever I want to do here. So if I run this one now, it's going to give me that column that I need. So for example, if I want now, so for LA in key, then I'm coming new data frame. New data frame equals to data frame. Can you see? Data frame dot data frame dot key. Yeah. Okay, let me just do okay, let's do the prints. Let's do the print new data frame. Can you see this is the new data now? This is the new data. So this new data now, I can now do for me. So pd dot write. Let me just use a function. So we have pandas function which can write pandas write. So I want to write to that directory. So you see how this is applicable. So if you want to write to CSV, can you see? So let's just use df to CSV. Oops, where are we? Okay, brilliant. So let's do this, pass the name of this new data frame to CSV. But instead of me passing it to CSV, remember here, file path. So file path, 1 second, file path equals to so I can just do file path the split by method comma then capture the first, let's say -1. Remember the index. So yeah, I will explain better. File path equals to this. Let's say new path equals to file path the split this, and just passing okay, maybe use -2 -3, yeah, just to capture, capturing this. Okay, so -2, then we just pass in new.
So -2 means that it's capture the content.
Content, brilliant. Now you understand. So it's capturing the content and is writing the file. Let me see if we're not making it. Oh, I think there's a mistake somewhere. Sorry. There's a mistake here. So something. 1 second. Second. Okay. I think there's a mistake. I'll check it, but there's a mistake somewhere. Oh, should have done something there. Okay, I'll check the error, but there is an error there. So what we're doing here, if you see the results here, you see we're printing a new data frame. So this particular file now, this is what we're going to save under our own a new directory. Does that make sense? So wherever we have here, we're going to save it separately as a new file entirely different from wherever we have already. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so that's what we're doing in this case. I think there is just a little, we have little error somewhere, which I just have to find the way around to fix. Okay. Let's do it this way. I think it makes sense to do it this way. Let me just do okay. Let me leave it this way. Okay, now I'll find the way around it, but this is the results. You understand how we're doing here. So example, for example, let's say we want to capture the file path here, new path. which is what we have here. You can print it. This is the new file path. If I print this one out, you will see the contents. You see the contents here. Let me do F. This is the new file path called can you see this is the new file path called content, right? So this is the first part. So we're able to capture content from here. You see the content by using what? 2. We capture content here. If I change this one to 1, it's going to capture this one as. Does that make sense? So it's going to capture that one as what? 1. Is that okay? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is the practical way of reading data, transforming data, you understand? So so that's how it works.
So
Did that? Okay.
everything is so much, but just confirm something for me. Does the key relate to the column names, the headings?
Yeah, I think I've already explained this.
Sure.
Yeah, you remember I explained this. It is related to the columns. I explained to you, I said
The
key.
column headings.
Yeah,
LA
key
code, middle,
and value. Yeah, I told you, I said key.
the rest.
I even showed you an example, if you remember now. I showed you an example here. I showed you an example when I mentioned here, I think at a point I use data frame dot keys. I showed it. You remember now?
Yes.
Yes, and I showed you an example. So I say it's related to the keys. When it comes to when you use keys, they are all related to the columns. You are calling the columns.
Okay.
And I show you an example key and value, and I capture the key here as a column to get a new data frame with only one data. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir.
The reason why I'm explaining this is that you say, how is it applicable in reality? So I have to import my file. You understand? Read the file, split the file here, show you an example how capture the first one, name, right? UK-data.csv as the split based on index we first did. Then I did for key and value in data frame.items, which we covered here. I explained all this here, if you remember. Where is it? Keys and value dot items. At a point I explained dot items here. I think I removed it. And I explained keys here, right? Values, which capture the columns. Example is columns here. Oduro, Jamie, David, columns, values inside. 2221-1480-1910. Same is applicable with items, keys. If you want to capture keys here, I can change it if you want. If you want me to, sorry?
But now that you've assigned the headings to the keys and then the rest of the values to the value, what didn't you do to the data? You start to manipulate the data?
Exactly, but we won't do that now. We're going to make it more complicated, because I decided I shouldn't have shipped this in now today because we've got lots of things to do. We need for loop and some other things to learn. But because you asked, how are you going to apply this in reality? How do we use it to transform data? That was what made me to explain all this, which is good. So going forward, what I would do is that, yeah.
I just one question. Does it mean values can be integers and also string?
Sorry?
Your values, does it mean it can be either integers or strings? Or must it be integers?
No, it could be anything. Look at it here.
It could be anything.
This values here is mixture of, numbers and
letters.
Exactly. So this is a string. This is an integer, right? It's an integer. It doesn't matter. So keys could be, in this case, is a string. They're all string here. So if I'm capturing only LA underscore code, it's going to be string. If I'm capturing middle age, it's going to be what? String. Does that make sense? So
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. So let's say, for example, now, let's say, for example, I want to create a new data frame. So we're using if LA name is this, we've been able to capture this, right? Let's say, what if we want to create a new duplicate of LA data frame? You will see another way of, let's say I'm calling the column new underscore LA underscore name, right? So let me call the new underscore name underscore name equals to, so it's going to be equals to, it's going to be new data, because we're using LA underscore name, so we can make it to be new underscore data frame. That LA underscore name. So we're creating a new column from existing column. Does that make sense? So if we print our new data frame, you see it's going to have two columns. Oops, there's a mistake somewhere. Sorry, let me check. It's saying coming. Okay, let me see. Incoming. Nice. I think I know what's happening here. Okay, yeah, I think I understand what is happening. Now I realize. So let's keep it this way. Let's see where the problem is coming from. So keys and underscore name. This should be correct. Okay, so new data frame. Data frame. Yeah. I'm very sure this should be fine now. Yeah, good. So I'm coming, should give me new LA underscore name. Are we having that? Can you see the new column now? Added.
Okay. So
Did
when
you
we
see that?
did the columns were 7. So now that you've added one more, it means
One
it's
more
going to be
using
8.
this. Remember the key and value. The key.
Yes.
You remember this when we added a new column to, where's the dictionary here? Yeah, you remember? You remember this method?
Yes, sir.
Passing the name and the value. The same thing we're doing here. We're just doing passing the name and we're creating a new key and value from the old one, and we call it new underscore name. I can change this one to Oduro now. Oduro. So it's going to be Oduro. So I think, so look at it now. Can you see? Oduro is there, right? So
it's created another one, and now there are 9 columns now.
There are 9 columns. So in this case, I think the error that I wanted to fix the other time should have gone. Dots. What did I use the other time? So I used to CSV. So let's use to CSV. New path. Okay, to CSV. So our new path, let's call it. I think this should be fine now. So let's do /Oduro /output /new splits, right? New splits. I'm very sure this should be fine now. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Let me see if it's okay. So let's see the error. Say there's an error somewhere. It said non-existing directory. Okay, so because it's not existing, so let's use the content one. Let me do let me use the content. So we're creating a new file path. Oh, okay, because we're using the same name. Okay, 1 second. It's new path, contents. Okay, CSV. Let me just do output. I hope it works. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Say cannot save file for unexisting directory. Okay. It says unexisting. So 1 second. So content.output. So we have contents. So in this case, what we can do is just to maybe create another directory entirely. But that will take us far again. So let's just do this. Let's do this. Let me just do contents. Don't let us bother about splitting this. Let's call it another name entirely. Let's call it UK data new.csv. Let me see if it's going to save now. Yeah, it's gone. So UK data new.csv is created, right? Now let's go back here. Can you see? So let's download the file. You will see this file is going to have the new column that we created. What do you see there?
Yeah, new
You
LA
see
new and new
new
LA.
LA new and new LA Oduro. This is a typical data transformation process. Does that make sense now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, brilliant. So I'm happy that I'm able to give this an example, and you see how we're trying to play around this data, applying key and value, how we are doing filtering and the rest. So does that make any question from anyone? Okay. So what we do is that, I will give you homework to do related to this particular data. I'll forward this data to you on WhatsApp. Then we also tell you what to do. Create a new column. I think it's better we start this way so that you understand the real scenario on how to, transform data. So, I've been able to do a few transformation here, added new columns, and I wrote the data. I also added it as a new file here with a new additional column. So that's an example of data transformation. So let's go back here.
Sir, before you can go forward, if you can a bit tell us how did you import that data again, please, so that we can actually play around with some of the data we have in our our Excel, please.
If you go back to that video, if I will upload into use on YouTube.
Yeah.
So just go here. You see there. Just go here, import. Then it will take you to your environment and click open. That's it.
Okay.
So and when you do that, just apply the same procedure you have here. Import pandas as PD. Get the file path. If you want to get the file path, go to the file here. Click on here. Copy path. If you copy this path now, if you go down, can you see it? Are you able to paste? So that's how it works. So that's all about dictionary, and I've given you an example how to apply this when it comes to reading real data. So in data engineering work, this is what you'll be doing, especially when you're dealing with pandas. Most of the time in data engineering, you'll be dealing with pandas, data wranglers, you'll be using Spark, and we're going to cover a bit of Spark after we complete the pandas area. So I believe that if you develop on, on the pandas side that we've shortly covered, which I'm going to dish out an assignment that you will do, then I will go through it. Then maybe we do like a another section where we, discuss about the assignment and other things to do. So that's that. We've covered a lot with list, dictionary, and we've covered tuples, And now we're going to go to the last part, I think, for today, because our time is fast spent. The last part for today, which is sets. Sets. So we have sets. So for our sets, looks like it has the same sign as dictionary, but no keys and value. We only have it's just like a list, just like the normal list that we have. There is another thing about set is that whenever you have a duplicate in a list, or you have duplicates in a tuple that you have to convert to list, you can use set to remove all the duplicates. Does that make sense? So for example, remember I gave an example of fruits here. I'm trying to be as practical as possible. If you are flowing with this and you practice and practice, I don't think you should have any problem finding yourself in data engineering space. So let me go to the fruit aspects that I used here. Where's the fruit again? So I created another fruit. Okay, please can you mute yourself in case if you have any background noise coming from your side, please? Thank you. Let me copy this. Let me copy this. Let me copy this. So for set, I'm going to use this one as an example for sets. I'm going to remove this sign and use this. Already we know that this is for sets. So if I run this one, let's say set Oduro. I would like to use Oduro. So set Oduro equals to this. Let's run this. Let's check the type. Type sets Oduro. If we check the type, is what type? What set? Can you see? It's sets. It's type sets. So for you to know that we're already using sets. So this is sets. And I can tell you that, okay, let's see, how many times is a mango appearing here? How many?
Twice.
2 times.
Twice. Okay, let's run it again as set. Let's run this as set now. Let's go back here and let's see. Is mango appearing twice here again?
Just once.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Just once.
Okay. Let's create this one as list. Let's create this as list. This is not set now. We're using list in this case. So let's say list. Let's call it list Oduro. So let's print our list Oduro, right?
Yes.
List Oduro. If you see our list, you still have how many mango is there? What is appearing twice?
Twice.
Good.
Yeah.
So I told you the other time, set helps you to drop duplicates in data. So let's say set Oduro. Set Oduro now. Set Oduro equals to set list. You pass in the list name Oduro. If you pass this one in and you run it, what do you see? Let's see if we have a new data now. Oduro. Now let's run it. Do we have duplicate there anymore?
No, sir.
It's gone. So that is why set is very, very important. So it helps you to drop duplicate elements. Any question? Any question at all? Is it making sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think we have some comments. is it possible to have the recorded video of this? We always have the recorded video. You are yet to be. I can't do anything about it. That means you didn't join this class very early, and we can't do anything about that. Maybe the best thing to do is to get in touch with the, school admin, and maybe complain about that. Yeah, thank you. Yes, so now let's go on. So we have now I've given an example of sets, how to, play around that. For set also, you could maybe loop through sets, check wherever we have within sets, play around it just like you have your list. You play around set also just like list. So it's similar to wherever you have with list. So you could maybe say coming for.
So could we do the len for set as well?
Yeah. Yeah, for length, let's see. Can you see that? That's 12, right?
Yes.
From here you could see sets. Let me run it separately. So we have one, we've dropped all the duplicates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Does that make sense? So 12. Can you see from the length? So that's perfect. So so I think we've really gone far today. Do we have any question before we go? Then next week we're going to focus on conditional statements, and hopefully we're going through loops and iteration. I should be able to cover the two next week. But this evening I will get the this video uploaded hopefully this evening, so that you practice and you will use it to do the assignment I will send across. Do we have any question at all? Let me stop
please, how do we
recording
set
now.
up our lab for practice?